Welcome to another edition of the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. And right now, you are railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker.
I love Rhea Ripley. I like that she's one of the bigger girls. When I say bigger, more taller, more thicker girls in the WWE. She can work her ass off. Don't matter who you put her in the ring with, she can work her ass off.
A recent episode of Coach's Corner here on the Whip Show Network created a bit of a misunderstanding with the listeners. Some of you left comments suggesting that Coach insulted Rhea Ripley. And that's not what happened. If you can hear from the clip that played previously, Coach never insulted Rhea Ripley. He was very complimentary of Rhea Ripley. He explained rather clearly that he was a fan of Rhea Ripley and why, and what he likes about her as a performer and a professional wrestler. His issue was Rhea Ripley as being portrayed against men in a way that he found to be unfavorable. That type of portrayal is not for everyone. I enjoyed it with Chyna. I'll be honest, I even enjoyed it with Nia Jax, and I think that was something that they should have pursued. But Coach doesn't like them doing it with Rhea Ripley, and that's his opinion. That's his own personal perspective and point of view, his own personal feelings. So attacking him for his opinion, I don't really get that. You're entitled to yours. He's entitled to his. But also, he never insulted her. He's a fan. And Coach does have a lot of experience in professional wrestling. But I'm not just here on this episode to defend Coach and defend him in that he never insulted her. But I want a further discussion on how great Rhea Ripley is. Coach talked about how well she can work. Let's go back to the Mae Young Classic. Rhea was immediately a standout. And anyone looking at her, even when she had the long blonde hair, she was a lot more colorful, you could see she had tremendous upside and that she was going to be a major player in professional wrestling, given the time and experience and the grooming. And she's gotten that now. And look at where she is. She entered the Royal Rumble at number 1. She won it, and now she's on her way to WrestleMania to challenge Charlotte Flair for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Now, there's been some frowns about that also. Again, it's a matter of opinion. If you don't think that she should have challenged Charlotte, a lot of people feel like she should have challenged Bianca Belair. I understand that, going back to their rivalry in NXT. But if we're looking at long-term storytelling, something that you hear a lot about in social networks, social circles, with people discussing professional wrestling, specifically WWE, I feel like WWE had gotten away from long-term storytelling and needed to return to that. So now that they're doing it, why is it an issue? Charlotte and Rhea have a story together. Charlotte and Rhea have history. Charlotte Flair won the Royal Rumble and defeated Rhea Ripley to become the NXT Women's Champion. Now the tables have turned. Rhea is now the challenger. Even though when Rhea was the champion, she came out and challenged Charlotte, which was unique, right? But now she's won the Royal Rumble. Charlotte's the champion. She's challenging Charlotte, and it's an opportunity for revenge. It's an opportunity for redemption. And it's an opportunity for her to showcase in a match against a veteran performer just how far she has progressed during the time between their last clash. I have no doubts that had she challenged Bianca Belair, they would have had a tremendous match. Action-packed, hard-hitting, drama, the emotional aspect of it would have been so engaging, and they have history. But against Charlotte, we can play up and understand the dejection that Rhea Ripley felt after losing the NXT Women's title to Charlotte. And now here's her chance to come and take a major title from Charlotte, the person who beat her at WrestleMania for that title. Rhea's ascension to the NXT Women's Championship was very well orchestrated. I think there's some that will agree on that. They took their time. They let her grow. They let her develop. They put her in key matchups. They put her in key scenarios with key people. So when she won the title, it didn't seem like it came out of nowhere. It felt earned and justified. It felt like, oh yeah, she should be the champion. Look how dominant she's been. Look how intricate and important she's been to the brand and to her opponents. To not only making her opponents look great in the ring, but also making herself look great in the ring against these opponents and creating these clashes that you remember, creating these clashes that you were entertained by, that you enjoyed watching. Rhea had proven herself to be a must-watch competitor. Now she's done this again. When the Judgment Day was formed, and rumors began to swirl about them adding a female member, a lot of people felt like Rhea Ripley was the obvious choice. There was some saying Liv Morgan, but a lot of people felt like Rhea was the obvious choice. And once she was a part of them, she actually feels more of the leader than Finn Balor does. She's definitely the standout. She's the backbone of that faction. While they're all edgy, no pun intended, she's the darker one. She's the one that carries that dark aura that they all seem to follow behind. It's kind of filtered to them. She's the figurehead. She's the symbol. WrestleMania is going to be Judgment Day. If you think about it, for Charlotte, her reputation has been tested over these last couple years. A lot of people targeting her ego and her attitude. And I guess in some regards this happened with Rhea. So this clash between the two of them at WrestleMania, in a sense, creates an opportunity for everyone in the audience watching to judge them both. To judge them based on where they are, where they come from, and where they're going. What's next for Charlotte? She's been champion numerous times. She's won every title that's been available to a woman in WWE. Did she win the tag titles? Honestly, don't remember. Maybe she has, maybe she hasn't. But singles titles, she's won them all, right? She's won them all. What's left for her to do? What's left for her to prove other than to help elevate this next generation of superstars? Look at all the women that's come up from NXT. How many of them would you consider a superstar? Even the ones who've held championships. How many of them would you consider a superstar? Some of them have popularity. Some of them have notoriety, but superstars? Charlotte Flair is a superstar. If you look at the horsewomen in general, Charlotte, Becky, Mercedes, formerly Sasha Banks, they're superstars. I don't think Bayley is a superstar yet. I think she still has superstar potential, I think she was on her way with that ding dong stuff, and then she came back with Damage Control. I think she was on the verge. What she was doing with Sasha during the pandemic era, during the Thunderdome era, was brilliant. I think she was on her way, but she's still missing something. But you have someone like Charlotte who can help elevate Rhea Ripley to that superstar status. So what if you decided to turn damage control against one another? You make Bayley the soft one. You make Bayley the sympathetic one. You make Bayley become the one that fans cheer for. You remove Bayley from the snobby. She can still be snobby because it's funny. She has personality. There's elements of that you can keep, but you can still give her sympathy and have the fans start to cheer for her and push her in that direction to where she can become a challenger to a edgier, grittier, meaner, destructive, judgmental Rhea Ripley, and use Rhea to push Bayley to that superstar spot. Allow her that time to completely rebuild herself. They took time to develop her as the hugger. They took her out of that persona and gave her, what she is and what she is now. And then take time to find what she is beyond where she is now to get her to where her peers are. Rhea could be that person to help elevate her. But first, we're talking about what's already been established in that relationship, in that competitive dynamic between Rhea and Charlotte on the grandest stage of them all. Here we are. Coach never insulted Rhea, as you heard in the clip. He was complimentary. He's a fan. I am too, and I know a lot of you listening are also. Some of you aren't, and that's fine. We are all entitled to our opinions. The issue Coach had with Rhea is not her directly, but how she's being portrayed against men in WWE. How she's being portrayed against women, they're moving in the right direction. They're moving in the direction to make her a superstar and make her look like an indestructible force against all the other competitors that she's going to face. And you can take time if fans want to see her and Rhea Ripley and Bianca Belair clash, they can take the time to build to that. The seeds have been planted. The seeds were planted in NXT. They clearly revisited those seeds on Raw. They don't need to rush because it's there. And if you take the time, you can have a worthy and earned payoff. And I think that's what we're going to get with Rhea having won the Royal Rumble, entered number 1, won it, moving on to WrestleMania, and challenged Charlotte. I think that's what we're going to get. We are getting what many of us have been wanting and asking for. And it's more long-term storytelling and development. I don't know what I was about to say there. I really fumbled that. Long torn? No. But more long-term storytelling. And Rhea is an excellent story building piece. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you for listening to Railing with the World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Joe Walker, on the Wrestling Heroes and Insiders podcast, aka The Whip Show. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe, and support the platform wherever you get your podcasts from. Follow The Whip Show podcast on all social media, and follow me on Twitter at Mr. Joe Walker. No excuses. Championships only. Be kind, be creative, win.